Hello, everyone. I'm Zara Indigo, and today is November 20th. It's around 3 p.m. here in the Pacific Northwest. It is a Monday, and here, out my window, it is gray. Beautiful day. I have the Anubis Oracle. I'll pull a card for today to see what message comes through. Which one today? There it is. Ooh, which one is it? This one? Or is it this one? Let's see what they both are. Well, the two cards that came out are Isis, and the other day she came on her own, and I talked quite a bit about her, so I won't go into great detail about her. But the card is number 3, Holy Queen, Mother of us all, embodied manifestation of love. There she is, with her wings and the olive branch. She's wearing the horns of Hathor. She most usually is seen with the throne upon her head. And there's Re, the sun shining bright. And the other card, I'm just going to slide Isis behind here for the moment, is entering the mystery. And on this card we have the dove, Nekbet, Mother Mut, Nephthys, and Isis. So Isis is here as well. I'll bring it a little closer. You can see that between Isis, who's here, and Nephthys, who's here, we have the Sphinx and the pyramid, we have the River Nile, we have the Greenlands, we have the desert, we have the sun and the moon in the sky, presenting day and night. In the vulture's hands right there, it's kind of hard to see, there is an ankh that she's holding. And, both Nephthys and Isis are holding olive branches, as is the dove. Entering the mystery. So if you've been listening to any of these of mine before now, or have worked with me at all, you'll hear me echo again and again this truth of arriving into the present moment, of arriving into right now. And that is the entering of the mystery. We arrive into now, we see what's here, and then the next moment is the mystery. We arrive into the now, we see what's here, and the next moment is the mystery, again and again and again. We can plan for the future, but ultimately we don't know. Ultimately, we can only trust that the next moment will come, and whatever is there will be revealed when the time is right. Isis and Nephthys, or Aset, and her sister are twins. Isis is the seen, and Nephthys is the unseen. Nephthys is also called Nebet-Het. And Nebet-Het, Nephthys, is the high priestess of the Egyptian Neteru. She's like the one who's, back in the office, and she's doing all the work and making the spells and getting the potions ready and preparing everything, writing the chants, doing all that work, that unseen work that so many of us do. Whereas Isis then is the one who's out in the world and presenting herself, and everybody knows Isis and loves Isis and holds her in high regard. But she couldn't be doing what she does without the support of her sister. Nephthys, Nebet-Het, is the consort of Set. I talked about him the other day as well. And the two of them were given the desert lands to rule, which is a hard life. Set was barren. He wasn't able to have children, and Nebet-Het, Nephthys, was very much wanting a child. And so there's a whole story. I'm not going to tell the whole story right now, but there's a story about how she impersonated her twin sister and sat in the garden, and along came Osiris or Asir, and sees her, thinking it's Isis. She's dressed as her sister. She looks like her sister. And they have a little fling, and that moment turns into the impregnation of Nebuchadnezzar, of the baby Anubis, or Anpu. Now, she was very afraid to carry this baby and then have Set find out about it. And so she gave birth in the desert alone. And unfortunately, she abandoned her child because she was worried. She thought he would have a better chance fending for himself out in the deserts than if Set found out about this child, because Set was barren. He would know it wasn't his child. And so turns out that her sister finds the baby. I have some imagination, I don't know if this is truth or not, that Isis got some word that there was an infant in the desert that needed caring. And because she is, the archetypal mother, she goes and finds this baby and she raises Anubis as her own. And so Anubis is raised with Isis and his father, Osiris. So above this image, we have Nekhmet, Mother Mut. And in this deck, they've combined these very two different deities, Nekhmet and Mut, into one. Both Nekhmet and Mut are represented by the vulture. Both of them are like the wisdom keepers, like the grandmothers, the wise ones, the ones who know all the alchemy, know how to spin the alchemy, know how to take the base materials that maybe aren't so good and turn it into something good. What is true about a vulture in nature is the vulture can digest rotting meat, right? So they're like the cleanup crew. They're going around and picking off the flesh of the dead carcasses that have been left behind and that are not good to eat for most other creatures, but they can eat it all up and transform that rotting flesh into nutrients for their bodies to grow and prosper. The other thing about the vulture, which is quite amazing, is that they're really about as little effort as possible. And what I mean by that, if you live somewhere where there are vultures, you'll see them circling in the sky, right? And you're like, what are they doing? They're just circling and circling and circling and circling and circling. But what they're doing is that they're riding the columns of air that form between the land and the sky that have to do with the heat differentiations. And I'm not totally schooled in all of that, but all the same, there's these columns of air and they ride the columns of air. And so they don't have to flap their wings. They just kind of coast, right? They just kind of coast to one column to another and look out below for any tasty morsels that they might be able to find. The dove represents the initiate. It represents the beginner, the one who is innocent. And there's a sense of trust with the dove. Like they're just trusting. As you enter the mystery, all you can do is trust that the next moment will come. And the branch of peace is there, the olive branch is there, 3 olive branches. And so this card really represents this truth of trusting the moment, arriving into the moment and entering into the next, which is the mystery, with peace in your heart, knowing that day and night, the sun and the moon and the stars will continue to cycle, right? The Sphinx is here in the middle, looking out towards the eastern horizon, waiting for that sun to rise, day after day after day, waiting, and the sun rises. And then it passes over his head, and then it's waiting as the sun traverses on its sun barge all the way around all the hours of the day until that moment once again when the sun rises. And there it is. And then it passes. So there's this deep sense of patience that the Sphinx brings. He needs it, right? He's carved out of stone and he's been carved carved out of stone conservatively for, a few thousand years. For longer time estimates, maybe even 30,000 years, way back in the time of Leo. Now we're entering this time of Aquarius, but some say that the Sphinx was carved as a lion back in way forgotten antiquity. The pyramid is there representing Earth and stability and foundations. What I believe is true about the pyramids is that they are not tombs. I believe that perhaps they are representations of that, how do I say it? The transmutation or the transformation that one undergoes from being earthly to being spiritual, to be embodied. The earth is this embodied stone, to rising up to that point to reach the union with all that is. There are no carvings, there's no paintings, there's no records recorded inside of the pyramids. And what is true of the tombs throughout Egypt and of the ancient ones is they wanted their story told, right? They wanted everything recorded on the walls of their tombs. And so you go in and they're elaborately painted, they're elaborately recorded, is that a word? To record the life of the person who is entombed there. There are no recordings on the pyramids. Some might say that the pyramids are like giant batteries. It's a mystery, right? Entering the mystery is trusting that sometimes we don't know. Sometimes we will never know. Sometimes it is about the opportunity to wonder without actually needing to know the truth of what it is. Allowing the fact that the mystery is all around us. There is so much more that exists than what we can perceive with our senses, right? So, entering the mystery. May you accept the mystery of all that is and trust the mystery however it moves in and through you, and allow it to guide you. Allow yourself to be in a place of not knowing. Allow yourself to be in a place of deep wonderment of this truth that you have the breath of life right now, right here. And all the stars and all the planets and all the matter and all of the cosmos. You are you. What's the chance of that? It's actually pretty small, which makes you pretty special and unique. So that's it for today, entering the mystery. Thank you, Isis and Nephthys, Nekbet Mother Mut, the wisdom keeper, helping guide us. May we trust the words of our elders. Thanks to the dove reminding us to be in that place of innocence and beginning, initiates into the moment. Thanks to the Sphinx and the pyramid and the river Nile that keeps flowing and flowing and flowing throughout the ages, turning the desert green. Thanks to the sun and the moon, cycling, turning, shining. And thanks to you for all you do to help the whole be whole. See you next time.